Well, I hope you're staying at home because I have a new raw file coming your way.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of Hollywood.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? My name is Mo, and today I'm going to show you how I edited this shot of the McLaren. Now, before I start, I urge you to go and subscribe to my newsletter. I left a link to it in the description below. This way you will get your hands on this RAW and many other RAW files in the future. So go ahead, subscribe to the newsletter. I'm going to be sending it through within a few days. Okay, so since this is going to be a walkthrough, let me show you what I've done here. First, in Lightroom, I always start with a basic adjustment. I just drop the highlights and increase the shadows. So if you look at the before, this was the before, and this was the after, and that's it. Cool. All right, let's move to Photoshop. Oh, and by the way, this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Now it's the right time to invest your time in learning new things. Take me for example, I recently enrolled in a Python class, or classes actually, and I was able to build this awesome Twitter bot that scrapes and shares information that matters to the world on Twitter. Now, no matter how busy you are, Skillshare got really short classes that fits your busy routine. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable. The annual subscription is less than $10 a month. Now, the first 500 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get 2 free months of premium membership. This way you can learn, explore, and enjoy your creativity. All right, so let me give you a background on when and how I shot this. And I shot this perhaps, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, maybe more. And back at this time, I believe I was using the Sony A7S, which is really not optimum for photos, but hey, I shot with what I had. So my process was slightly different back then, and I'm going to adjust it here, but the basics are the same. Now you might be asking, why DMB? Why on the car? It's just like any photo. Dodging and burning adds depth to the car, especially when you're doing a local adjustment. It just brings out the details of the car. So what am I looking at when doing dodging and burning? I'm looking at these highlights, like this line here, the line over there, the line over here and here. And I'm definitely going to dodge the rim. I'm not going to do a lot of burning because it's a black car, but these areas are actually good to bring the shadows or the blacks in. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is a gray layer and the blending mode is set to overlay. And if I click on it, there you go. And it's pretty easy. So I'm going to create a new layer, shift backspace, and I'm going to fill this layer with a 50% gray. Set the blending mode to, you can choose whether to have it on overlay or soft light. Overlay will give you a stronger effect. Lighten or soft light is going to give you a minimal effect. And I'm going to select a brush, and I'm gonna press D on the keyboard to switch to the default, and I'm going to press X to switch between the colors, as you can see. I have the flow set at 3, which is enough for what we're trying to do. And I'm just going to start dodging. And it's as straightforward as this. So I have this line. Now, of course, I'm using the Wacom Intuos Pro, which makes it easier. Now, I'm still getting used to it, by the way, because yeah, I gave up my Cintiq or Centec. It just took a lot of space, and I think it causes me headaches because I can't control the brightness of the screen. So there you go, like so. So I'm going to do just few, like this one here, and over, oops. Let's have a look at it before, after. You can see the difference already. So, well, let's skip this one. Let me show you where am I going to burn. So I'm going to switch to black brush, And I'm going to brush away, if I get that right, like so. You can see it just gave that nice depth to the car already, or these lines. But I'm going to do the same over here. One, maybe another one, another pass would do. I'll see the before, after. Hey, that's cool. So you get the idea. Now, let me show you what are you trying to achieve towards the end of this exercise. And I'm just going to enable this layer, and this is the dodging and burning layer. Art. You can tell it's a McLaren just by looking at the DMB layer. So before, after, before, after. So you get the idea. I don't have to actually do it on a new layer. Now it's going to be your turn once you receive the row to try that out. Now, like I said, I shot this years ago, and back then my workflow was different. I had Color Effects Pro, which was free back then, free by Google, of course. It's the same thing as if you're using Camera Raw. So I'm going to, actually, let's do that. I want to convert it to smart filters first, so I can get back to it in case I ever wanted to readjust the settings. All right, so now that we're in Camera Raw, let's give that contrast, clarity, contrast thingy back and just push it a little. All right, I'm going to drop the saturation down a little bit to 30, I think, around there. And maybe give the white a little bit of a boost. Just like so. Let's give that a sharpen, the lazy sharpen method. I'm going to mask this one out by pressing Alt. So white reveals, which applies the sharpening, and black does not get the sharpening part, like so. And I'm gonna press OK. All right, so next I use the channel mixer to desaturate the photo even furthermore, and I use the blue filter. So let's have a look at the before. This is the after, before, after, and as you can tell, I dropped the opacity down to 32%. And later on, I'm going to selectively bring the colors back. That's what I usually do. Now I have an awesome tutorial about how to add smoke to your photos. Here I used a different method. So if I enable this and maybe remove the mask, it's an actual smoke layer with a black background that I set the blending mode to screen, so it brings out the smoke. And then I added a mask to just mask in the portions of the smoke that I wanted to add in the photo. And I actually have a video on how I actually do that, and it's a pretty old video, but it's very informative. So I'm gonna leave a link to these two tutorials in the description below. Make sure to check it out. Now I'm going to skip this. This is a sharpening layer that I previously used because I've already sharpened it in Lightroom. So the last layer is just an empty layer that I actually stroked with a very soft white brush. This is the before, this is the after. Now if I actually enable this, put it at 100% and remove the mask, this is how it looks. So it's really straightforward. I just drew that kind of a fog smoke kind of thing with a very soft brush and maybe very low flow, and then enabled the mask to control this and dropped the opacity to where about 70 something percent. Now remember, I created a Camera Raw filter with a smart filter. That means I can go back to it and actually make some adjustments. This is what we're going to do. So first, I am going to create a local adjustment, and I'm going to reset this local adjustment, and I'm going to drop the exposure down, bring the blacks down. I'm going to readjust this, but for the meanwhile, I just wanted to create that texture on the ground. And yeah, I think we're nailing it. All right, that's enough for the graduated filter, and I'm going back to the adjustment, and let's hit to saturation. So now I'm going to selectively bring back the colors that I want in the shot. So I'm going to add these, and maybe drop this one. Yeah, you too. We don't have greens, but we might be having blues. So I just want to get the blues out. It's going to give you a very, very unique look, like so, especially when it's a nice color, just like that. Well, let's drop down these. Let's go to the hues, get the reds, make it a bit there. I think we dropped these as well, so they wouldn't really affect the photos. I think we can use more clarity now that we added these effects, just to make it a little bit grungy, like so. Click OK. Now there you go, you have a very interesting look. Now if you want to take this look further, I am going to add a curve, 3.1 over here, and say around there, and I'm going to lift up the shadows, not too much, just a tad. Let's bring this one up. Before, after, well, don't like it much, but I'm going to drop it, just trying to match what I've done previously. And I'm going to maybe color grade this. How would you like us to color grade? Actually, since we have the camera raw filter, let's add a little bit of blue in the shadows, and that will give it a really unique look. I know we've removed the blues, but adding blues in such a photo in the shadow, I think it's gonna give us a very interesting look. So I'm going to go somewhere around here. There you go, not much, not too much. I mean, I can go all the way, but you wouldn't want to do that. Something around there would just be fine. Now it's a creative choice. I'm gonna leave this up to you to decide once you start editing this photo. So don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter, otherwise you're gonna miss the opportunity to get the raw. And I've been receiving a lot of requests on Instagram to actually send them the raw files via email, but it's going to be very hard for me to send it individually to each one of you. So make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. I swear to God, no spam, just good stuff. All right, so let's have a look at the before. This is the before, this is what we started with, and this is the after. It is really just few layers to transform a look of a car like this shot into something that is more dramatic and more interesting. All right, YouTube, so we have reached the end of this tutorial. Now, if you have any question, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.